Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to the Forged Alliance Forever promotional series with me, your host, Guile. And this is rather a special one. This is cast number 20 in the series, and not only that, since my last cast, I passed the 400 sub mark on YouTube, so thank you to all of you for your continued support. And feeling in a pretty good mood about things, I thought we'd celebrate with a classic 3599 match featuring the one and only TLO, because I know how you guys love to watch this guy. If you don't know who TLO is, where have you been? Have you been hiding under the rock? But in short, TLO was a guy that at the time this was made was dominating the Supcom leaderboards, and then migrated over to StarCraft where the money is and made some pretty serious inroads into the pro gaming community over there. Lots of people still proclaim him as the #1 favorite StarCraft player to watch, but certainly in terms of Supcom, he's my favorite to watch. He's a huge fan of very risky Tech 3 ACU drops into people's bases, loves to pick up his comm, fly it across the map and just start building in someone's base. So aggressive, so dangerous, and he plays at his best when he's playing alongside his brother up here at the top right hand corner, TBO, another very serious player in this time. Marginally weaker, shall we say, than his brother, but still definitely a superb player in his own right. And they are going up against the one and only Zock. Of course, many of you might know Zock. He still plays today. He's one of the more serious, high-ranking players at the moment. And he got quite far. I think he got to about the semi-final of the losers bracket, or the final of, semi-final of the losers bracket in the Imber Cup. Lost out to Luzon, so he is a very serious player, and he's going to be teamed up with Krinto. Now, I'm not really sure. I don't know a lot about Krinto, but obviously if he's playing with these guys, he must know what he's doing. Otherwise, this would be the biggest mismatch of all time. The map is going to be Thawing Glacier, of course, typically a 3v3, but it works as a 2v2. You just don't have somebody at the top or the bottom positions on either side. So we'll have to see if anybody is brave and sets up any proxy bases to try and flank their opponents. But we'll just have to see. TLO, meanwhile, will be going, let's have a quick look at the teams. UEF on the right-hand side. TBO will be going Aeon. Zock will be going Cybrin. And Krinto will be going Aeon as well. So, not an exact mirror matchup, but similar enough. And you can see scouts out for the little one. Wants to protect this little headland. It's got a mass point on it and lots of mass to reclaim. Obviously doesn't want anybody building any proxy bases on the front here and giving him any headaches. Initial scouts out from Krinto, or a scout and 2 assault bots. And just kind of checking things out. Just making sure there's nothing easy to pick up with assault bots. No easy engineers. But TLO is ready for this. He's got a couple of strikers on standby, just guarding the front entrance while the engineer picks up the 4 mass points on that corner. TBO out with a bomber now, looking to do some level of harassment. Maybe pick up a couple of engineer kills up here. There's one there at the moment, although there's probably soon to be more, because Zock is moving a transport full of engineers. Is he going to drop them all off is the question. No, he's just dropping one off for now, so he's going to allow that engineer to pick up or help pick up those units, if he survives, of course, because this bomber is bound to pick up one. Bombs away, so that is one engineer down for Zock, who has a couple of inties out to quickly pick up the defending intie from TBO. Doesn't manage to kill the bomber though. Wants to go and escort the rest of this transport that's full of engineers, which is kind of a wise move, because TBO has a few inties of his own, and so does TLO now. So game rapidly escalating into an air phase, and Krinto going for a very risky push, obviously looking to set up some kind of localized proxy base near TLO, but I don't think that's going to survive. There's so many inties out from TLO. Indeed, that does go down. So a full transport full of engineers, which is quite a significant loss at the early stages of this game. So TLO on it as usual, not letting that survive. Zock now managing to land a few engineers there, but promptly getting overcharged by TLO's ACU. And of course in 3599 you didn't have to build any energy storage to get that overcharge. You just literally, you got it from the get-go because you had a natural higher store of energy. It was one of the things that Zep changed, and I like that change. I think that's a positive move because you know, the overcharge is a big deal. You should have to do something for it. Now TBO looking to steal this hydrocarbon place from Zock. He's got 4 engineers on the ground. See if he gets a proxy base up and starts causing headache. Zock also working on a factory of his own, wants to secure this area, which say I don't blame him. Definitely a wise move, because you've got to expect that players of their caliber over here on the right hand side, they're going to be playing as aggressively as possible. So hydrocarbon up, land factory coming next. Of course he's got a lot more build power on the right hand side of this top base than Krinto does. Sorry, Krinto and Zock. So Zock needs to be careful here. Small air fracas going on in the middle. Bomber goes down. Looks like TLO and Zock are reasonably well matched for numbers. Doesn't look like there's going to be a significant winner on either side. Maybe Zock is going to come out ahead. They're going to divert and go after this bomber, make sure it doesn't cause any more trouble, and it doesn't. So pretty standard stuff so far, but a pretty significant T1 Aurora push from Krinto. Looks like it's heading over to the right hand side, and another engineer drop from Krinto. So Krinto pretty serious about getting some kind of proxy base up on the right hand side. Not going for something quite so ambitious as he was the first time. Instead it looks like he's heading for the bottom section of the map, which I think is a lot wiser decision personally. Meanwhile at the top hand side it's assault bots versus, and Auroras versus Mantis. Sorry, it's not Aurora, it's a further, but it's extraordinary. Rhino's out already for Zock, so Zock is up to T2. He must have brought that in from his main base, so he's been airlifting T2 units on. Indeed, there is the T2 land factory, and that looks like it's going to be the end of that little push from TBO on that top section. And indeed, there is the proxy base that Krinto's setting up. So let's see if TLO has any radar coverage. He doesn't, so for the moment that has gone unnoticed. And lots of T2 units, T2 blazes coming out from Krinto, coupled with shield gens and everything. So that could prove troublesome for TLO, although he's got a lot of fighters in the area, so he's going to notice that early. Fighter bombers out as well for TLO, so he is on T2 already. Huge, huge air forces coming out from TBO. Lots of swift winds. Of course, T2 Aeon don't have bombing capabilities, so they are just fighters, but they are the most superior fighters. So in equal numbers, they will dispatch Janus, Corsairs, etc., etc. So air superiority looking like it's going to the TLO TBO team. And is this a ghetto gunship? It looks like a pretty significant ghetto gunship from TLO, and that is going to cause all kinds of trouble for this Aurora push that Krinto's been doing, this little harassment squad. That is indeed the end of that. Quite sure what happened to that group of blazes. The air engagement's still going on over here, and lots and lots of Spectres out for TLO as well. So air control firmly in the hands of TLO and TBO. Will TLO get this down? Yes, he does. So the transport goes down, but all of these mech marines survive. And that is slightly annoying. You figure with that many inties you should be able to get that transport down in time before he manages to drop them off, but TLO was quick on the draw with that. No problem. Lots and lots of assault bots now for Krinto. So he feels like he's building up a nice big force. And I do like this play. You don't want to just stream it up and, you know, give away your secret before you've got enough forces to deliver a crippling blow. That little group of blazes, I had wondered where they'd gone to. It's now moving up the middle, taking out a mass point or two. Another ghetto gunship out from TLO. And they're causing all kinds of problems, and it's a nice play. I mean, they know they've got air superiority. It was obviously their stratagem from the beginning. So TLO just feeling free. Another one out as well. So that's his third ghetto gunship. For those of you who don't know, if you're new to the game, ghetto gunships, you load up a transport full of mech marines and you just fly them over the target. You can't control fire. They just fire at everything that's nearby. You hover them over a target. And pound for pound, they're devastating. Much more devastating than what you can spend, than what you could buy equivalently for mass and energy on, say, gunships or bombers. Of course, incredibly vulnerable to air attack, but if you're quick on the draw and you are watching, like we just saw with TLO, you can land the mech marines, then all you lose is a transport. I mean, you might lose them when they're on the ground, sure, but meanwhile, this large push from Krinto looks like it's going to pick up one T2 mass point. Lots of strikers, though, on the ground for TLO, so you feel that this won't go too far. And indeed, TLO cleans up most of those flares without too much trouble. Krinto now looking to do some kind of run by up the backside, but isn't going to manage it, I shouldn't imagine. And taking a look at what kind of coverage, TLO now has pretty decent radar coverage of that section, so he's going to be able to spot all those units probably before they do much damage at all. Meanwhile, TLO, TBO, with the help of what was their air superiority at the time, have managed to pretty much secure most of this. And he's actually got a T2 land factory up here, so that could be problems for Zock. TLO now switched to Janus to try and deal with this little proxy base. I'm sure Krinto probably thought he was going to get a little further with this little push, this proxy base. Hasn't managed it so far. Huge swathes of air forces from TLO TBO and causing so many headaches. You can see 1, 2, 3, 4 mass points down. Obviously a large gunship push. Spectres from TBO, probably coupled with a few Janus from TLO. And Krinto's responded by getting up lots of T2 mobile flak. You can see in the middle there. But at what cost? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, probably 6 mass points down for Krinto. So he's going to be hurting for mass right now. If we take a look at the economy, he's on plus 26 mass. Zock is sitting on plus 72, TBO plus 72, TLO plus 73. So Krinto bottoming hard, short stacking at the bottom of this game. And that is going to be the end of his proxy base to boot. So nice secure there from the brothers from Germany. There is a Continental on the field. Just take a look at what TLO. So he's got a shoulder drone upgrade. He's got the T3 engineering suite. So could we see some kind of TLO ACU drop? I do hope so, because it is about the most exciting thing. ASF's now on the field for TLO. So air superiority still firmly on the Eastern team. And you got to think things are starting to look a little dire for Zock and Krinto. Restorers out now for TBO as well. And of course, this being 3599, Restorers were imber as hell. They much more balanced these days, thanks to all of the work that the FAF guys are doing. And it's a pretty serious push coming on now. Lots of gunships. A few spy planes out for TLO. Another ghetto gunship ready to go. It's interesting, you don't see that many people carry on building ghetto gunships at this stage in the game. They're usually an early rush tactic, but when you have this level of air superiority, why not? Loyalists out for Zock now, so he is up to T3 land. And Tech 2 tactical missile launcher gone up in a very sneaky position to the northeast of Zock's base. And you'd imagine TLO's probably going after the mass points. They've crippled Krinto, and now they want to cripple Zock as well. Yep, and that is the way to do it. So, TLO and TBO employing all kinds of nasty tactics. They've managed to pretty much cripple the Western team. Lots and lots of units moving out now for TLO. Lots of T1 bombers, lots of T1 strikers, Janus, ghetto gunship. And you kind of have to feel sorry for Zock. ASF's out for him, but they're not going to be able to contend with the numbers from TLO. Restorers and Spectres going after this one loyalist who's standing guard out front. I think this is probably well and truly over. Obviously, TLO has something planned because his brother has given him T2 power gen. It's perhaps to help with some upgrading. I've missed the continental drop. There it is. TLO. He's got his shield on. And he loves to do it. Straight into the opponent's base. To be honest, I think this game was over anyway. It's not going to change the outcome. But it's still incredibly fun to watch. He just doesn't like to end a game without giving this a go. You can see him overcharging the Monkey Lord there before it was done. And Zock, you're never going to be able to contend with that. Just starts rapidly constructing T1 point defense turrets, forces Zock back into the shield on half health. Zock trying to counter with loyalists. Obviously not wasting time going after the ACU. He's not going to get through that shield. I think that is going to spell the end for Zock. Especially now his Triad's gone up. Zock down to a few hit points, and there he goes. So Zock defeated. He does manage to give what's left of his base to Krinto. A pretty dominant show of force from the brothers from Germany all around. Ghetto gunships still running for TLO, just mopping up. This little Aurora column while he pursues with a T1 blob of his own. And TLO now looking to make this a mini fortress. Yeah, you see that Continental go out from TLO early on. You see a early T3 upgrade on the Commander. It's a pretty solid guess that he's going to go and assault his opponent's base with his ACU. And it's always entertaining to watch. Like I say, not the most intrinsically important to the match that I've ever seen, but always entertaining. Like I say, guys, if you haven't seen any of the previous TLO matches on my channel, do go and check them out. There are some gems in there. Definitely worth your time. Mixture of destruction and reclamation from TLO's ACU. Krinto trying to respond with a mixed blob of his own. That's going to be an exercise in futility. Interestingly, finish that Ravager. It's going to move further up, get a few triads up. That's all you need, to be honest. There's no significant units in there. It's all T1 and T2, so mass triad is going to be more effective. But TLO doesn't want to get bogged down. He's going to get back on board the Continental. It's one of the things, though, that why you don't see it so often, because the ACU is so vulnerable. You've got to be so good with your placement. You've got to know you've got air superiority, or at least you're going in at an angle that is not likely to be seen. Because, of course, a decent horde of ASFs in the wrong place at the wrong time, and your commander's going to get detonated in mid-air. And it's happened to me. It's not the most fun thing. Ghetto gunships working overtime, helping to deplete that shield alongside restorers and Janus coming in now, and TLO moving in to assist with the destruction of Krinto's base, taking a lot of Oblivion turret fire. And there goes Krinto's ACU. So, hope you guys enjoy it. I certainly did, and we will see you guys next time. But for now, this is Guile signing out.